Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in June. A very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I just don't do the touching. Welcome to Friday's edition of the dceu Daily. You are very welcome, my friends. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter to keep the conversation with me going at Movies TV Mad. Do you like what I do? I want to know. I need my ego boosting. Am I just wasting my time? I need to know. Are you offended that I'm just using a Lenovo built-in mic and cam? Does that offend you? Tough. So welcome to Friday's DCEU Daily. Not much happening in the world of the DCEU right now, apart from there's a big rumour that Jared Leto's Joker, with the help of digital remastering and CGI, will be in Birds of Prey, the emancipation of one Harley Quinn, and they're using a body double, apparently. Also, on Birds of Prey, we now know that they finished the reshoots, but obviously they were just pickups. The word reshoot was just part of the Grace Randolph anti-DC hate. And apparently a test audience has seen the film since. Guess what? No more dick pics. But was there actually dick pics anyway? We don't know. We'll never know. But the dick pics conversation is gone, because there is no dick pics in Birds of Prey, the emancipation of one Harley Quinn. Personally, I thought it would have been a bit of a lark. It would have been a funny. It wasn't a main story. It was a side note, and it would have been fun. But they got rid of it because outrage culture can't handle anything these days. Anyway, the main point of today's DCEU Daily is to talk about the new graphic novel called Harleen. Now, this is, of course, this is about Harley Quinn. I personally don't know what it's about, but the Hollywood Reporter had done an article about it, which I haven't read yet. Now, the reason I kind of gravitated to this article is they're saying, why can't this be adapted into an R-rated DC movie, very similar in the style to Todd Phillips' Joker movie? I would be very up for it, and I bet you, because she's a female, no one's going to be going toxic white female, feeling sorry for her because she turns bad. Sure. So shall we read this article and then talk about it? I think we should. Now, apologies for my reading. It's not very good. Learning difficulties as a kid. You're going to have to be sympathetic. Thank you. Comics Watch. How Harleen lays the groundwork for an R-rated Harley Quinn movie. Yes, please. If Warner Brothers can make films with multiple actors playing the Joker, could someone else take up the mantle from Margot Robbie for a darker standalone? Welcome back to the Hollywood Reporter's Weekly Comics Watch, a dive into how the latest books from Marvel, DC and beyond could provide fodder for the big screen. This week tackles DC's Harleen, so be warned, there are spoilers for the first issue below. Haven't read it, I'd love some spoilers, it gives me some information to work with. Where are we? DC Black Label's latest title debuts today, and it's no laughing matter. Stepan, whatever that's Siddiq's 3-issue series, Harleen, takes a mature look at how a gifted psychiatrist, Dr. Harleen Quinzel, finds herself stepping in to the dual roles of the Joker's paramour and notorious villain. Harley's descent into madness has been told before, most notably in the Batman Adventures, Mad Love, 1994. A one-shot issue by Paul Dini and Bruce Timm, set within the Batman animated series continuity, and the later adapted as an episode for the series in 1999. Elements of Mad Love were later established as canon. Let's just say canon. They say canonical. Let's just say canon. Why do you have to try and be intelligent? Origin for Harley Quinn. And brief snippets of the story were included in Suicide Squad 2016. Harley's story is often secondary to her eventual transformation in the lure of Batman and the Joker. But Siddiq, a writer and artist known for his distinct style and compassionate characterization, utilizes his skills to fully develop Dr. Quinzel's life as a young woman living in Gotham, whose fate pushes her closer and closer to a man who both terrifies and engages her. With Harley Quinn's popularity only continuing to grow and Warner Brothers exploring the possibility of a DC Black Label film branch, Harleen may very much be the book that lays the groundwork for a future solo film. I would absolutely love that, and I'm sure you would too. DC's Black Label imprint, which celebrated its 1-year anniversary this month, kicked off with Brian Azzarello and Lee Bermejo's Batman Damned, and was followed up with Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo's Batman Last Night of Earth, Frank Miller and John Romita Jr. Superman Year One, and Sean Murphy's Batman Curse of the White Knight. These stories take an out-of-continuity approach with typically R-rated considerations of some of DC's most iconic figures. The inspiration for the label began with Azzarello's and Bermejo's graphic novels Luthor, 2005, and Joker, 2008. Fittingly, Todd Phillips' upcoming Joker, while not an adaptation of the graphic novel, takes a similar R-rated approach outside of the larger DC movie universe. Phillips has pitched the idea of a DC Black Label film side to Warner Brothers, and while the studio is waiting to see how Joker performs first, I think we all know how it's going to perform, don't we? Fans are already speculating what could be next, with Luthor high on that list by Harleen is just as viable a possibility. Let's pause there for a minute, right? I think, look, Joker is brilliant. It's not adapted from anything, but it takes elements of different, I think, Black Label stories. Now, I think there's enough content in the actual comic books, the graphic novels of Black Label, to take a comic each year, each 2 years, and adapt it into a film. It would excite people as well if you were adapting a Black Label graphic novel. Personally, that's how I would go at it. Harleen doesn't retell Harley's origin, but by utilising the Beauty and the Beast narrative of a beautiful girl seduced by a monster and held captive at his whims. Instead, the first issue focuses on Dr. Quinzel's work, her interest in lessening the mass incarceration affecting Gotham, and reforming inmates and patients into the functioning members of society. Her prospective frames Batman as part of the problem. That's intelligent, that's clever, isn't it? A force that contributes to Gotham's mass incarceration issue rather than lessening it. Batman and the Joker are caught in the theatre of shadows, looming as silhouettes and nightmares that significantly the root of Gotham's problem. This would be a fascinating approach through which to see these characters on film. Agreed. While Batman and the Joker loom large over Harley Quinn's narrative, a film focused on her could push them to the background shadows, influencing her efforts and increasing despair. But also you could have Batman and the Joker in this, even if they were in the background. That would make it even more viable, but making sure this is Harley's story and she's front and centre. Where are we? Always getting lost, didn't I? Harley Quinn may not be as popular as the Joker among non-comic readers yet. She's very popular, since Suicide Squad, she's become very popular with everyone. Everyone knows who she is now. That's the point, right? But she's getting close. Margot Robbie's performance in Suicide Squad helped the character break out in the minds of general audiences, and that popularity is likely only to grow with the upcoming release of Kathy Yang's Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn. Agreed. In James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, Robbie will be kept busy as Harley Quinn for the foreseeable future. But if a DC Black Label branch does happen and takes inspiration from the Joker in terms of allowing filmmakers to have a creative freedom, there's a chance we could see someone other than Robbie take on the role for the film. While this idea may ruffle feathers of some fans, the Shakespearean quality of these characters permits multiple actors to hold the same role simultaneously, and each offer a different voice through which to understand them. Just as Joaquin Phoenix's portrayal of the Joker doesn't prevent another actor from appearing as the character in Matt Reeves' The Batman, the same is true for Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn's role in the DC movie universe thus far is largely inspired by her recent comic book reformation, which has found her separated from the Joker. Romantically involved with Poison Ivy and largely heroic, but there's still a place for her as a villain, and not just one who operates as a female equivalent of the Joker. Harley's transformation at the moment doesn't seem to be leading up to madness, but a conscious decision to abandon standards she's clung to. We're all monsters in a civilized cage. It just takes the right kind of pain and fear to break the lock, Joker says in the book. The kind of character focus and hard examination of a pop culture figure we thought we knew is the very thing that makes Joker look so appealing. Imagine if a filmmaker like the Ryan Section's Reed Morano routine with Blake Lively and used Harleen as the basis for an R-rated psychological examination of the deterioration of one woman's empathy in a crime-ridden city where Batman and Joker only exist in shadows. Did he say Blake Lively? What? Anyway, watching Harley Quinn develop into a more heroic figure in the DC comics over recent years has been compelling development and arguably a necessary evolution for the character. But Sajik's Harleen reminds us that there's also room to reconsider her role as a villain through a modern lens that adds new layers to her character. If Todd Phillips and Warner Bros. Are truly serious about further exploring the creative process that led to Joker, then they need to look further. They need to look, no further than Harleen for the next year examination of a DC villain. Brilliant. Awesome, freaking awesome article. Let's discuss. I have no issue in an active Black Label movie franchise getting other actors to play the same roles that have been played within the DCEU. That doesn't bother me. But Margot Robbie could play a Black Label Harley Quinn, a totally different version. It wouldn't confuse anyone. We already know what's Black Label and what's not. We know, right? She is a phenomenal actor. And doesn't she deserve the opportunity to play this properly? They gave her a backdoor origin story in Suicide Squad through flashbacks, which was hugely disappointing. She deserves more than that. Her relationship with the Joker deserves more than that. I feel she could still be the DCEU's Harley, and she could still be the Black Label's Harley Quinn. I don't think it would be confusing, and I don't think it would be a problem. She could do it. It would probably win her an Oscar. Think about it, right? Harley Quinn is a fascinating character. She's a psychologist at Arkham Asylum. She then starts falling for the Joker, a psychotic, schizophrenic madman, right? She then starts to reevaluate her place in the world, like Harleen does in the first issue. Who could do this better than Margot Robbie? Doesn't she deserve that? Anyway, I want your opinion. Who would you like to play Harley Quinn in a Black Label Harleen adaptation? Would you like to keep Margot Robbie and let her play another version? Do you think that would be too confusing for audiences? Or do you think they would get it? I like to give the movie consumer, my fellow movie consumers, the benefit of the doubt and actually think they're intelligent enough to understand the Black Label is an Elseworld universe and the DCEU is another universe. It isn't rocket science. It isn't difficult. So please comment down below. Please like, share and subscribe.